City Council meeting. Thank you for coming. Okay, let's call it to order. City Clerk.
Council Member, Agency Director, Authority Member Mann.
Present.
Smith.
Here.
Underwood Jacobs.
Present.
Vice Mayor, Vice Chairman Christ.
Present.
Mayor Paris.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, the invocation tonight is with Pastor Durrell Arnwine from the Prevailing Word Christian Center. Well, it looks like I'm not the only one late. Do I have a volunteer? Come on. I would do it, but the Ninth Circuit said I can't, right?
Thank you.
Please bow your heads. Jesus, we thank you for the opportunity to gather together here tonight, Lord, in your precious name, God, and we pray that you would bestow wisdom onto our council, Lord, and we pray that you would guide them in your holiness and your righteousness, God, and in your grace, and most of all, Lord, in your love. And we pray, God, that you would help us all to seek you first, God, to seek your kingdom and its glory in everything that we do. And we pray that this council and every heart here tonight, Lord, is set apart for you and your things. In your precious name, amen.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, you want to do the...
Place your right hand over your hearts. Ready, begin. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Manager, anything to be removed?
No, sir.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes
Unanimous.
unanimously. Very good. Consent calendar. I have to remove some things, right? On the consent calendar, do I have some things to remove?
No, that's on NB1.
Okay.
There's no conflicts that we're aware of.
Okay, thank you.
We need to remove CC 11.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion
Wait a minute,
to...
hold on. Michael, do you have another one you want to deal with?
He's already speaking.
They're not on consent calendar.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar as currently comprised without CC 11?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Well, let's vote. It's unanimous. It passes. CC 11, granting authority to the city manager to enter into certain contracts on behalf of Lancaster Choice Energy. Mr. Reeves?
Mayor Paris, staff, ladies and gentlemen, and council. I'm opposing CC 11 because, to me, it gives blanket authority to the city manager to enter into contracts. You know, I appear before other boards, like the hospital board, and they have it divided up where the chair of the hospital board is authorized to do so many contracts, and then the board has to do the contracts and so forth. I'm not clear about this, and I don't want the council to advocate giving authority to a non-elected person. I would prefer to have the council approve all the contracts and negotiate the contracts for the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves.
Motion to approve CC 11.
No. We got Fran. Now, Fran, you know this is my favorite project.
Just say something nice about me.
Okay. Good evening, Council, Mayor, Vice Mayor, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fran Saris, and I also had something on CC 11 adopting. I kind of go along with Mike said, but at the same time I don't. My thing is, when I read this part, what I really wanted to get out of this is what really is a city. I know this is contracts that have to be filled out on our behalf as the citizens. But if Mr. Bosigian signs contracts on our behalf and it contains monetary value, the monies that arise, if we get monies, make money on this project, where do the monies go? And who uses them and who spends them? And that's my main concern.
Ultimately, it goes to the general fund.
And what is-
Ultimately, what I hope to do is that we actually lower the taxes we pay. That's the ultimate goal. That's going to take a while, but there's every reason to believe that we're going to be considerably profitable in this venture. But it does require some flexibility, and sometimes we're moving fast when we're buying and selling power. You know, it's a spot market where you buy cheap and sell high, hopefully. In light of the fact that we're right now the only city doing this, it puts us in a real good competitive advantage. Does that help you at all?
Okay, so what I'm reading here is that any of the profits that are going to be gained from this.
No, I didn't say that. I said ultimately that's
Oh.
where we want to go.
Ultimately.
But we're also developing a business at this point.
Okay,
You know, I mean, call it whatever you want, but that's what it is. It's a business.
okay.
And until we get the structure of that fully developed, you know, the money goes back into the business. You know, it's like-
Okay. And then once it is back in, are we going to talk about this again?
We're going to be talking about it constantly,
Mm.
because ultimately there's going to be a lot of income coming in that requires distribution.
Oh, okay. Then I'll
Okay.
speak up again.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oops, I'm stuck here. Either that or I can't move. I'm stuck. I'm here to stay. You can't get rid of me.
Motion to approve CC 11.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Let's vote. It's unanimously approved. Okay, continued public hearing, item 1. Any speaker cards?
3.
Okay, we will hear from the staff report from Elizabeth Brubaker.
Good evening, Mayor Paris and City Council members. Copper Square Apartments, LLC, plans to finance the construction of a 204-unit multifamily rental housing development located north of the intersection of 30th Street West and Avenue I in the city of Lancaster in the amount not to exceed $26 million. Copper Square Apartments is requesting that the city approve the issuance of housing revenue bonds by the California Municipal Finance Authority in order to finance the above-mentioned project. The housing revenue bonds will be tax-exempt private activity bonds. For purposes of the Internal Revenue Code, it is required that the elected body of the government entity having jurisdiction over the area where the project is being financed provide approval. In order for the city to approve CFMA's issuance of the housing revenue bonds, the city must conduct a Tax and Fiscal Responsibility Act, TEFRA hearing, to allow the public comment on the use of the tax-exempt bond financing pursuant to Section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986. The city itself is not a party to the underlying financing, is not issuing the housing revenue bonds, is not obligated to pay the housing revenue bonds, and is not pledging or otherwise committing any of the city's revenue or other assets to secure repayment of the housing revenue bonds. The housing revenue bonds are payable solely from revenue received pursuant to the terms and provisions of certain financing agreements to be executed by the developer. As stated, there is no financial impact to the City of Lancaster. Please adopt Resolution Number 15-45. Do you have any questions?
I have one item of clarification. I want to clarify that we opened public hearing number 1, not continued public hearing number 1. It may have been a misstatement, or I misheard you, one of the two.
I forgot the magic words. Okay, good. Any questions? Howard, how are you? It's nice to see you. Okay, where's the cards? Lance Hiller? I used to have that hat.
Good evening. I am Lance Hiller. I am here to speak out against the Copper Square Apartments. It seems as though we just went through this with Section 8, and we just jumping from one fire to another, and we had no control on Section 8, and this is more like what they call in Baltimore and Philly and L.A. a project area. We're going to have a ghetto 3 stories high right next to what I really feel very favorable of, the Knight Veterans Retirement Home. I'm quite concerned that we're going to end up with a lot of crime out there, vandalism, graffiti, and the sort, and it'll spill over till the Veterans Home. I hope that Lancaster does have something to say about this in that regard, and I hope that Lancaster, which I'm sure you all do remember, it's only been a little while since we got stung real badly because we couldn't keep Section 8 under control. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Fran Sarasaris.
I just have one simple little question. I read this, I thought it was good, but my confusion is, and I'm always confused, and that's why I'm here, so you can clarify it. What is meant by household incomes no greater than 50% or 6% of the area's median income? What is the median income in this neighborhood?
We're going to ask the smart lawyer. Okay.
It's based on the median income throughout the county of Los Angeles. So 50% of the median income or average income for county of Los Angeles.
Okay, I understand the words,
Okay.
but I want to know the numbers. Like what is
What is the exact number?
Yeah, more or less, what income bracket do these people qualify in?
Would you like us to answer that, sir?
It's Fran. You think I'm going to stand in the way?
I was being polite.
Thank you. So for a family of 4, their income could not exceed $24,900.
Okay. So that's okay. I think you answered my question for the time being. I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda Bailey.
Good evening. I'm Linda Bailey, Mayor Paris,
Hi.
Council. Thank you. I live in that area. Excuse my casualness. I've worked at the fair all day.
That's
getting
okay.
ready. I live in that area.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bad accident right there at that intersection this morning. It was closed off for hours. I don't know what it was. But I want to know, is low income the only criteria? I'd hate to see the housing open to criminals because they have a low income. That's my concern. We have a fairly stable neighborhood. We're very active in neighborhood watch and all of that. We watch our neighbors. That's really close. You can stand on a ladder in my front yard and see the property. I don't want it that close. And I have a question for these people who live there. There's no services nearby. It's quite a ways from any grocery store, dry cleaners, whatever you need. Doctor's offices, unheard of out there. There's not much out there to provide these people with a complete life. There just isn't. and the traffic. You've got Lancaster High School there. You got the Night Veterans Home. You got the fairground less than a mile away. It's pretty industrial. It's not really amenable to residential till you get towards Lancaster Boulevard. Out there, they're going to be pretty isolated. You're in coyote country. We hear them every night. That's it. I just have that you're going to isolate them. You're going to subject us to heavier traffic. And low income, bless their hearts, but that's not the only criteria I want to see. I don't want to see murderers, rapists, criminals living that close. They won't have pride of ownership because it's a rental. It's not really theirs. You know, like us homeowners, how we care about our neighborhoods and stuff. I don't know if they'll have that. So that's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark, you're high on this project. Tell us about it.
Well, they've met every requirement, the good parts of it first. They've gone through, they've talked to the Planning Commission a couple of times. They've made changes based on public safety and ingress and egress. They run additional projects in other areas, specifically Spokane, Washington, and other areas on the West Coast. And I think there's somewhat of a misnomer on a couple things they're approving. First, to the last lady's point, the action before the council is to allow them to apply to TEFRA. Her point about services out there is absolutely correct, and part of the requirements of the funding agency is access to services. So they may not get their TEFRA funding based on that, because that is certainly a criteria. The other thing, when we talk about, Allison made the point, the median income for Los Angeles and the 60% is rather high. So for an example, market rate, let's say a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment in the Antelope Valley is about $995, $1,000. 60% of the adjusted or the average median income for Los Angeles County would be $1,082. So the 60% here is about the same as what the market would be here. So those are the facts on it. Mr. Vos, if you'd like, may want to talk about the comment or the information from the Planning Commission, but they've done everything asked of them, and it could set a bar for other projects.
Thank you. Mr. Rose?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Planning Commission did take up the review of this project from a land use point of view on 2 occasions, most recently last month, and we heard a presentation from the developer. We had an opportunity to review all of the proposed development plans, made suggestions which the developer had agreed to. I must say this meets all the zoning requirements, the general plan of the City of Lancaster, as well as the state-approved housing element. So the commission had no specific objections to the project based on land use, general plan, and our zone.
I was led to believe that this particular management company or developer is somewhat unique in how they operate these properties.
From what we can tell, they're a quality developer in terms of they own and operate. Beyond that, I don't know about the uniqueness.
Thank you. Any questions?
I do. Mr. Wozigan, we talked about cameras in regards to, I agree with the 2 speakers in regards to the crime issue. So we talked about cameras being linked to the sheriff's station. Has that requirement been met?
That has been communicated to the applicant, and Brian, if I'm talking out of school, they were amenable to that. Is that correct?
Yes. They've indicated to us that they actually do plan to have cameras that are available to keep watch on their common areas, their clubhouse, their pool area, the areas where there are normally problems, if there are any that are going to develop. Connecting them into the sheriff's system is not a big deal from that standpoint. They were already planning to have that kind of security system in place. They also indicated that they have on-site management, so they have people that are on the site all the time keeping an eye on things and watching. So it's not an absentee management kind of a situation. They have live-in managers that are actually present on the site. kind of to give you some idea also, we went back and looked at what this company actually does. They own and manage about 5,200 units throughout the western United States. So from our standpoint, they seem to be a company that's well versed in what they're planning to do.
I'd like to ask the captain a question, if possible. We have a similar unit over on 30th and J4 in that area. It'd be 34th, 35th Street over by the college on the west side.
Yes.
Is that a problem area?
It depends on your definition of a problem area. Does it generate a lot of calls? Yes. The most glaring issue with the proposed site, I think, is just the location, because it's so far out that it's going to end up drawing resources from the inner city out to the outlying area, or pull in resources from the county areas. But that depends on a lot on the management, as you know.
Thank you.
So question, and I don't know who this would need to be addressed to, but obviously tonight we're just making a determination, taking a public hearing, making a determination of whether or not they could move forward and make their application. Ultimately, Brian, this would still come back through planning, and then at that point, could we not condition them for, we already spoke about cameras, but if there was other concerns, could we not condition the property? I mean, there's nothing, just because somebody applied for a federal bond, I don't think that has anything to do with, specifically with our codes and our requirements about land use, correct?
That's correct. The project itself still has to comply with whatever conditions the city puts forward, and as an example of that, they are already aware they have to provide the solar energy requirement that the city has now imposed on residential projects. They have the architectural and other requirements that would apply to any other residential project within the city.
And so if we were specifically concerned at a later date, when they go to make let's say that they get that TEFRA, they get the bond money and move forward, ultimately they still got to go through all the steps, and at that point, we as a city, whether it's the Planning Commission, or I'm not quite for sure how they would make application, whether it would be oversight from yourself, but at that point, could we not condition the property for any of the concerns that has already been raised here tonight?
Yeah, the city retains all of its, discretionary actions from a land use standpoint.
Right. I just want to make sure that. Now, if I may speak to Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
if I could share some insights. Back in 2005, I acquired a property in Texas that had a federal bond money that was similarly operated just like this proposal was. It's 152 units on 9 acres, and there's a monthly requirement that documentation has to be filled out and submitted to the federal government, and subject to oversight. And although I can say that I no longer have that bond and it's no longer operated that way, but I can say the close to 6 years I had the property, we never had historically any kind of problems. And the city in which it resided in, it's very similar to the size of Lancaster, and it was right in the heart of the city, and just never had any kind of problems. So just sharing that with you.
Thank you. Anything else? I'm troubled. I'm troubled by the equating low income with criminals. I don't like the comment about a 3-story ghetto. I don't think that there's any other way that could be taken than the way it was intended. And I want you to know I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I do recognize that low-income apartment complexes are crime generators if they're not managed appropriately. I also don't like the idea that we're putting apartments on the rural area of the city. I think that we should concentrate multi-use residences in the city itself. I think it helps the city thrive by clustering the population in the center. So I'm probably going to vote against this, but I want it clear. It's not for the reasons you might think. It's the only reason is that I would prefer to see apartments in the downtown area, not the rural area. But I would like to make it clear that is the last time somebody comes in here and says three-story ghetto without me crawling up there, whatever you want to call it. Everybody get that? Thank you. Anybody have anything else? Is there a motion? There not being a motion?
I'm going to make a motion to adopt resolution number 15-45.
Second. Let's vote. It passes 3-2. Okay.
Paris and Christ voting no.
Let's go to new business item 1. Michael Reed. Well, we got to present first.
CPH1 would be next.
NBH1.
Yeah. We just did PH1, now we need CPH.
You guys put too many letters and numbers for me to follow, you know that. Okay. Continued public hearing, item number 1. And who's presenting that?
Elizabeth Brubaker will present.
Okay.
And Allison is here for questions as well, too. She worked.
Michael, couldn't you and Miss Brubaker get together before the meeting and we could just...
Really nice.
Think about how many trees they'd save.
Hey.
Yeah, if nothing else, the trees you'd save. Let's not go there. Go.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor Paris and City Council members. The analysis of impediments to fair housing choice and fair housing plan is a required document by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development in order to receive Community Development Block Grant funds. The Department of Housing and Urban Development defines affirmatively furthering fair housing as 3 core tasks requiring the grantee to conduct an analysis to identify impediments to fair housing choice within the jurisdiction, take appropriate actions to overcome the effects of any impediments identified through the analysis, and maintain records reflecting the analysis and actions taken. Although the city's obligation to affirmatively further fair housing arises in connection with its receipts of federal funds, the obligation is not restricted to the design and operation of HUD-funded programs. The obligation to promote local housing opportunities is extended to all housing and housing-related activities within the city's boundaries. As part of the consolidated plan, the process mandated by HUD, Lancaster must submit a certification that it will affirmatively further fair housing, which requires the city to undertake fair housing planning. To remain in compliance with HUD guidelines and also remain proactive in its fair housing efforts, the city has prepared its analysis of impediments to fair housing choice. Impediments to fair housing choice are defined by HUD as actions, omissions, or decisions taken because of race, color, religion, sex, disability, familial status, or national origin, which restrict or have the effect of restricting the availability of housing choice. Please adopt resolution number 15-46, approving the analysis of impediments to fair housing choice and fair housing planning. Do you have any questions? No?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Reeves.
Mayor Paris, council, staff, ladies and gentlemen. On that last vote, I had a speaker card in there, Vice Mayor, and I wasn't allowed to speak. But I will speak on this. This is 112 pages.
It's your fault.
But, yeah.
I don't see it. Where is it?
It disappeared, okay. This HUD application.
I rely on my vice mayor. I'm sorry.
Okay, well.
And not his eyes.
Okay. At any rate.
They're old eyes. What can I say?
This HUD application is 112 pages. 112 pages. It's not possible for us to talk about it in depth, but I'll make a few comments about it. You know, we just voted on this so-called new project on Avenue I, and that goes against what we're going to vote for HUD. You know, on the HUD thing here that we're going to send to them, that projects should be within walking distance of transit services, major transportation routes, and shopping and medical facilities. That place is not going to be by any of those places. And we're already talking about the crime, but this is, you know, that's something else. That's my take on that. I respectfully disagree with you, Mayor Paris, that we shouldn't have these projects on the outside. I think we should have the projects on the outside. This application to HUD talks about these projects in the center of town, Avenue I and Division Street, and also Avenue H8 and the Division Street. I don't think that the people that live in central Lancaster, like I do, should have to have all these projects in the center of town. As I mentioned before, I want the people on the west side to enjoy these projects like we do. It's not fair that all the projects should be concentrated. I realize that these projects would improve the central city, but I don't think it's fair to congest a central city with these projects and not let the people on the west side enjoy the company of these new tenants. So that's about all I have to say about the 112 pages. I only wish that we could go through the 112 pages page by page. Thank you.
Is that yours? Turn that off for me. Thank you. Okay. Any questions? Any comments?
I'll move that we adopt resolution number 15-
To close the public hearing.
Oh, close the public hearing. Oh,
Thank you.
he apparently did have a card in on the other. Do we have to redo it?
No, we do not. It was inadvertent.
Okay, thank you. Okay, public hearing's closed. Is there a motion?
We adopt resolution number 15-46.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Let's vote. It's unanimous. Now, moving on to new business item 1, power purchase and sale agreement.
Mayor and Council, thank you very much for the opportunity to present tonight. It is an exciting time in that we have achieved a milestone that your council has set with regard to Lancaster Choice Energy, and it is the acquisition and purchase of local solar. As you know, we've talked a lot about the opportunities that exist with Lancaster Choice Energy, not only choice in the energy market, more greener energy, as well as more, cheaper energy. We've also talked about the economic development benefits of Lancaster Choice Energy, and tonight you're approving a 10-megawatt project. Kathy DeFalco is here, will be presenting the details as well. But the importance of this is that this is going to hire local people to create local jobs as a result of the local creation of Lancaster Choice Energy. Not only will it keep the energy affordable, it will also generate many jobs and continue the solar development that we've seen in the past, and it will continue. So it's an exciting time. It's kind of anticlimactic. We get excited about weird things here, but we are very excited about the fact that we are, going to be building our first local project with Lancaster Choice Energy, and it's a result of your vision and your efforts. So thank you. With that, I'll turn it over to Kathy.
Good evening, Mayor Paris, council members. Lancaster Choice Energy, as you know, is the city's community choice aggregation program. In April of this year, staff released a request for proposals for locally developed renewable energy projects. The city received 17 projects from 11 developers. Projects were ranked based on resource location, generating capacity, and proposal pricing. After interviews with shortlisted developers, best and final offers, and contract negotiations, staff is recommending this evening that Council approve the award of a 20-year power purchase and sale agreement for local renewable energy for a 10-megawatt capacity solar project to S-Power. This project is located within the City of Lancaster. The addition of this project into LCE's energy portfolio is in line with our goals to purchase renewable energy from local resources. During the 5-month construction phase, which will begin next year, 75 to 80 local jobs will be created. Approximately 8,500 hours of development work for trades such as engineering and surveying will be given to local businesses through subcontracts. Long-term, 2 to 3 permanent jobs will be created and added to S-Power's Antelope Valley staff. Those permanent jobs here in Lancaster will be allocated to this project. S-Power has been a wonderful community partner and has proven their commitment to Lancaster and the Antelope Valley. They have invested more than $400,000 in local programs supporting education, public safety, and economic development. They're a good neighbor to Del Sur Elementary School, paying for the paving of their parking lot and contributing funds to the purchase of a marquee-style sign which will be installed September of this year. So tonight, here with me from S-Power are Hans Esern, Senior Vice President, Garrett Bean, Director of Permitting, Executive Chairman Steve Creamer, and Nikki Olafson, Community Relations Coordinator. These individuals have worked diligently with the City of Lancaster to make this project happen. So if you have any questions for either me, Jason, or any of the S-Power team, we'd be happy to answer those now. Thank you.
Thank you. Are we locking in at a 20-year price?
We are. We are paying a flat fee, no escalation for 20 years, yes.
How much a kilowatt?
It is $54.99 for megawatt.
What does that do the math for? How much?
5.4 cents per kilowatt hour.
No kidding. You guys are geniuses. All right, thank you. Any questions?
No questions, just a comment. S-Power has been a great partner with the city. They've done a lot of things. They partner with the sheriff's station. They partner with a lot of things, so we appreciate what they've done inside the community and becoming part of the City of Lancaster.
Yes, we are happy to join with S-Power in this project. So, thank you.
Okay, Michael Reeves.
Mayor Paris, council, staff, ladies and gentlemen. This is a copy of the power purchase and sale agreement that you're going to vote on. And on page 15, there's blanks. Expected annual net energy production. It's not filled in, it's blank. Now, I don't know about you, I'm not an attorney, but I don't approve any contracts that have blanks like that. Is there a reason that they could not be filled out, or non-applicable, or a line or something? We're going to approve a contract that's not complete. For what, millions of dollars? I mean, next time we bring a contract up, let's make sure that it's filled out completely, and we don't obligate the city to something that can be filled out later. Thank you very much.
It's an illustrative portion of the document.
Thank you. Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll move we approve EDB1.
I'll second that motion.
Before we vote, understand what we've done here. This is truly, truly remarkable what's happening. We are going to provide alternative energy, meaning no impact on the environment, for cheaper than what a gas-fired power plant, a coal-fired power plant can provide it for. And at the end of this month, we're going to be announcing that we can actually store this energy for several days. Nowhere in the world has that been done, where we were going to be able to produce all of the city's needs, store it for several days if we need to. We would have the capability of totally going off the grid if there was a reason to do so. And we will pay less money than if we continued to buy it from Edison. That is world-changing. We are really proud of it. It's complex, but it's truly amazing what this city staff has accomplished. And this is the second to the last step, right? As soon as we build the storage facility, we're done, right?
In this phase, I think, is working for this council, we're never going to be done.
Well, that's probably accurate. Okay. So as you vote, remember it. Remember the vote. It's world-changing what's happening. 10 years from now, most cities will be adopting this model, if Edison lets them. Didn't they? I heard somewhere where Edison is trying to pass a law that that's the street lights, right? Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's vote. And it passes unanimously. In B2, I have to recuse myself. I think Councilman Hand does also.
Yes, I do. I have property in the area.
Me too. And so I'm going to turn the meeting over to the Vice Mayor.
Who's doing the presentation, Mark? Okay, Brian, you have the floor.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Christ and members of the council. Late last year, staff came to you and gave a presentation on a concept that we called the medical Main Street. And we got direction from the council to proceed on seeing that we can make this a reality. What we're here tonight to do is to give you an update on the items that we've accomplished, what we're looking at doing, and the time frame that we're following in making this a reality in our community.
Brian, hold on just one second. Certainly. Allison, how come they have to leave if this is just a update?
Out of an abundance of caution and to ensure there's no appearance of impropriety or that they are influencing any future decision on this matter, which we do expect will come back for action in the future, it is appropriate for them to step out.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Sorry.
Certainly. I'd like to introduce to you Shannon Dow and Chris Ani of our staff, and they are the ones who really do the work. So they get to give the presentation on what's happened up till now and to bring you an update on this exciting project.
Thank you, Brian.
I like that other slide.
Yes. The proposed district boundary is roughly bounded to the north by Avenue J, to the east, to the south by Avenue J14, to the east by 12th Street West, to the west by 20th Street West, all the way down to the 14 freeway. When we looked at this map, we noticed all of the undeveloped landlocked parcels and realized that something needed to be done about that to provide those connections. In addition, we heard from many people from the hospital staff and also patients regarding the difficulty of getting around to and from the hospital from the outlying medical buildings. What was created with this feedback, staff came up with this new street layout plan, which will provide the necessary connections and open up the areas for development, regeneration, and also alleviate traffic off of Avenue J and 15th Street West. 17th Street West and 12th Street West will become the north-south access within the district, while Avenue J3 will become the east-west access. We have recently been awarded a $5.3 million grant from the Los Angeles County Transportation Authority to provide the necessary infrastructure to get this implementation going. Next, Shannon Dell will talk about the National Resource Network.
Thank you, Chris.
Over the last several months, city staff has been working with the federal Strong Cities, Strong Communities National Resource Network to further this project. Funded by HUD, the network is designed to provide expert technical assistance in terms of both economic recovery and job creation. The city applied for assistance through the program's 311 for Cities application, and we received $10,000 in technical consulting assistance from HR&A Advisors, which is a national real estate and economic development firm. The HR&A has been working with us to facilitate strategy sessions between the city and Antelope Valley Hospital staff, as well as informing our RFP for the master planning process. They've also compiled case studies to demonstrate lessons learned and best practices on similar projects throughout the country. So these outline a few of the projects. There were 3 that we looked at: Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus in New York, College Station Medical District in Texas, and Great Falls Medical District in Montana. All are medium-sized towns within their respective states, just like Lancaster. And the median household income is actually lower in all 3 of these examples than it is here in Lancaster. 2 of them were led by the city government, while Buffalo's is led by a nonprofit coalition of 9 member institutions, all of which are private organizations. And also it's notable that each of these took a minimum of 2 years, with Great Falls taking 3 years to complete the master planning process. Chris will talk about our timeline later, but we are looking to do a little bit shorter than that. Now, Chris will provide some further information regarding Buffalo's project.
The Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus is a nonprofit organization which was established in 2001 to coordinate the existing 5 medical and educational institutions in downtown Buffalo. Since 2003, when the master plan was adopted, they have seen 3 million square feet constructed, 2 million square feet under construction, and has received $1 billion in economic development and infrastructure investment. The most significant takeaway we can take from this case is that the campus has a $9 million budget, 95% of which is funded by real estate revenue. We are looking forward also to establishing a sustainable funding mechanism for our project as well. And next, Shannon will highlight the case study for College Station Medical District.
Pictured here is Scott and White Hospital, which is one of the primary fruits of the College Station Medical District in Texas. This is a 5-story, 143-bed state-of-the-art hospital, and is representative of what we hope to achieve here with our medical district. The district's primary sources of funding include tax increment reinvestment zones, which is similar to California's now defunct redevelopment agencies, municipal management districts, municipal capital funding, and state funding. City government provided the bulk of the funding necessary for the physical infrastructure for this project, and to date it has generated more than $150 million in capital investment. However, project staff felt that more extensive property owner outreach would have greatly enriched the project. The municipal management districts, which provide a key source of revenue for College Station, are very similar to the property-based improvement districts we have here in California. We have one in place here in downtown Lancaster, and it's the same mechanism as far as a self-imposed assessment on property owners. Due in part to a lack of outreach, there were a number of property owners in College Station who chose not to join the medical district, and that represented a significant loss both in terms of potential revenue as well as scope of the proposed district. We propose to combat this by reaching out early and often to all of the involved stakeholders and property owners to ensure that they're on board and we have their buy-in and involvement throughout the process. And with that, Chris will wrap up with our timeline.
Okay, so next week is our second strategy session with the Hospital and National Resource Network to review the case studies. The request for proposals will be completed in September and released in October, and the responses will be evaluated by the end of the year. Staff will return to Council in January to award the contract. The master planning process will include community and stakeholder outreach, and we envision the whole process taking to about 1 or 2 years. Staff will bring the case before the Planning Commission for the review and approval, and by mid to late 2017, we will return to Council to adopt the master plan.
I just wanted to make a couple of comments to kind of put this in perspective. The greatest news is that we've had nothing but enthusiastic support from Allen Valley Hospital Medical Center. There's been a change in the administration there, although we're proud to
inform you that the existing CEO, Jack Burke, has been in this program from the very beginning and still quite interested in it. You heard some of the numbers from an economic development perspective. The hospital right now has about 2,500 employees. But we think, and when you look at the map and you see the vacant property that's around there, is that it wouldn't be impossible to double that. We also see lots of commercial opportunities, maybe hotels, Starbucks, residential opportunities, so people that needed care would be close to the hospital campus. And we're really fortunate, I think, because Brian, of course, is always preaching infill. If you look at that map, you'll see all of the vacant properties that really are completely and truly infill. And actually, a great majority of them are owned already by the hospital. So this is an opportunity, we think, for everybody. It's not going to happen overnight, but nor did downtown Lancaster. And if you remember, downtown Lancaster started with a couple people on the Planning Commission, and the first step we took was the specific plan and the form-based code, and that's exactly the process that we're going to go through here. We thought you should hear from the whole team because we've had a lot of people working on this, but we'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I have a couple realtors up here that are going to have a couple questions. Mr. Vos, you want to start?
I'm not sure really I have any questions. I have some background in this development, and the staff's done an outstanding job to this point. I wouldn't want to take a position on this project until it comes before the commission next year, so we hear the full impact of it. But it sounds terrific, and it's going to be great for our community.
Thank you very much.
Howard?
In your presentation, I was looking at the outlining areas, and I think it's, with the development and the increase of Antelope Valley Hospital, I think it's going to be phenomenal. I'm looking forward to being a part of that. That area is an area that's needed something like this for quite a while.
Yeah, with the addition of the infrastructure and already getting a $5 million grant, the city will play a very, very important role in this. And, not unlike the Lancaster Business Park, which is a big old flat piece of ground for a long time until somebody stepped up and put the infrastructure in. So, we've had experience doing this, and we're happy to have your leadership to help move this along.
Ron? Angela?
I do. I have a question in regards to the $5.3 million grant that was given by LA County Metro. I was wondering, do you know what the cost will be for the infrastructure, or is it too soon to anticipate what that'll be?
We've had some ballpark estimates, but it's really a little early, depending on what ultimately ends up happening. But the $5 million is at least halfway there. So.
All right, thank you.
Can we put the map back up?
There you go.
Yes, we can.
In that map, the northwest corner is the old Kmart, correct?
That's correct.
Are we going to open up that parking lot? My understanding is we're going to open up that parking lot, maybe do some pads out front.
Absolutely. That's something that the hospital has a lot of interest in, and there's a private sector concern that's recently purchased that facility. And, it blends perfectly. Of course, the hospital owns all the property to the east of that. And so, yes, it's a natural. One of the things they've talked about is a gymnasium for hospital employees. And so I think you'll really see a completely integrated, we call this medical Main Street, and we were chastised a bit by the strategic planners with the hospital. The term medical apparently is passé. We talk about wellness today. And we have to make sure that we really recognize all of the different facets that wellness, the whole program that we have with You Only Live Once, and that whole belief is exactly what this thing can one day show us.
Well, me and Mark went down to a MTA meeting, and they were talked about at Medical Main Street at that meeting, so they were all excited about it and excited about giving us the $5.3 million. So you guys have done a great job on it, so thank you. I need a motion to receive and file.
So moved.
Need a second?
I'll second.
Let's vote. Motion carries 3-0 with Mr. Paris and Mr. Mann out. Michael, did we miss you again?
Why, Marvin, you're so efficient.
Thank you.
Okay, council agenda. City clerk. Am I skipping something again?
You have Erica? No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Erica.
Where is Erica?
CA1. She's at CA1.
Erica, I almost forgot you. Okay, as I said last week, I'm appointing Erica Monroe as a deputy mayor, and I need a vote of that. I'm nominating, so I need somebody to second it.
I'll second that.
And so you ready for your speech, Erica? Really?
Call her on it.
That was good. Somebody in one of the social medias was complaining that I appointed you as the deputy mayor instead of, somebody I didn't know. The reason I'm appointing Erica is because Erica has been with me now for 4 years, 6 years. Someday I'll learn to count. She's incredibly bright. She loves this city. And more importantly, I can totally trust and depend on her. And if I ask her to do something, I know that she's going to do it in the best interest of the city. And I would encourage you all to vote for her. So with that, there's a second. Anybody have anything to say?
I do.
Okay.
I've had a lot of experience with Erica. I'd like to echo what the mayor said. Dealing with Erica, she's a very strong woman. So we look forward to working with you. So thank you for what you've done in the past.
They just like you because you slap the mayor around.
That's why I like it.
Okay, let's vote. I guess I don't vote for it.
Yeah.
Let's redo it, please. Try again. Yours didn't show, Mayor.
I think I vote.
You made the motion, so you can vote for sure.
Yeah, you can vote. You having a problem with that tonight,
You want me to show you how to do that?
Mayor? Mary, let me show you how to do that. You got my box.
Erica, come up here and vote, would you? Okay, great. So you have the thing for me to swear in? Good. Okay. So does she come up here? Is that what we're doing? Okay, good.
Do it down there for the incognito trust. I'm sorry. Do it down there so you can get the incognito trust in. It's better to
Yeah, we are going to do it down there. I think we figured this out. What we're doing it. Okay, I think I will figure it out. That's swear in first.
going to take the picture.
She's already taken control.
So Mark will issue you the car in the morning.
She doesn't want Mark's car.
That's true.
Maybe Jason's car, but not Mark's car.
No speaker cards on CA2.
Okay, can we just waive any reading and
Motion to approve CA2.
I'll second that.
let's vote? Hurry up before Michael gets one in. All right, council reports. Vice Mayor Christ.
We did the report on the AVTA at the last meeting in regards to the senior subsidies. That is going through. The AVA QMD, they did receive a application from the Palmdale Power Plant, which is going to change the name, their purpose, and the different functions of it. They're getting rid of the solar. They're increasing the stack height, and they're making it a dry plant instead of a wet plant. So we have all those things to consider there. Me and Mark went down to the MTA, had a hearing with Ara Nigerian for the North County, which is the cities of Glendale, Burbank, Santa Clarita, Lancaster, Palmdale. We did reports, saw how it was there. And we also did a transportation summit with Antonovich and saw all the activity that the Antelope Valley is now receiving through the transportation issues. So that's what's happening with the transportation issues.
Thank you. Any other council reports?
I have none for the sanitation district. We were dark in July.
Justice Commission? Any reports?
No, we don't have any reports at this time.
Thank you. Planning Commission? Thank you.
Do we have,
I
might want to ask Howard, he sits on the fair board, to what the lineup is and that kind of stuff, so at the fair.
You got your speech ready?
Yes, I do have a speech ready. No, I would like to promote the fair. For those of you who aren't aware, we have, I'll just give you the brief lineup. We have on Friday, opening night, Boys to Men and Kenny Babyface Edmonds. On Saturday, we have Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo. On Sunday, we have Banda, the Hispanic Night. Monday is Peter Frampton and Cheap Trick. Tuesday is Hart and Left of Center. And Wednesday is a country night with Thomas Rhett and Frankie Ballard. Thursday is our figure 8 racing. And Friday is Monster Truck with the new jet car. And we have Rural Olympics on the 29th with the Demolition Derby closing out on the 30th. And we hope to see all of you there.
Great. Okay. City Manager, any announcements?
Just 2 quick announcements. Our city clerk and Linda, our assistant, have been exploring the possibility of taking applications for passports out of the city clerk's office, because believe it or not, you can't do that in the Antelope Valley anymore, and it's a hardship on aerospace firms and such. So we hope to come back to you soon with a proposal for that. And I compliment both of them for taking the initiative to solve a problem that actually has a big impact on the aerospace industry, among others. So thank you for that. Number two, we have had the good fortune of representing the council at the backpack event at AV Partners for Health, and in conjunction with Denise Latanzi's group, and I'm forgetting the name, United Desert Charities, is that it? And I got to say, from what that event was, which was simply giving backpacks out a couple years ago, to what it's become now, is pretty inspiring. They had 4,000 people there. It was way more than backpacks. They offered immunizations, counseling, exceptional resources, something I never thought of. It's very important. They had 17 people that cut hair, stylists, thank you. 17 stylists there giving haircuts to kids before they went to school. And to a family that has 5 or 6 children, that's an expense I never thought of. So it was really very, very well done, and people got to spend time with their kids all day. So I salute them. We had, I think, 4 of our commissioners are involved, which was Shannon, Miguel, Denise, and Michelle Kiefer. So it was very well done.
Terrific. Marvin, did you get a haircut?
No, but I saw you at Supercuts.
No, my wife bought me one of those vacuum things. You know?
Should tell her it's a little strong.
That's what it is. All right. City Clerk.
This is the time to address the City Council, agency, and authority on non-agendized matters. Speaker cards can be found on the back table of the council chambers. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. State law prohibits the City Council from taking action on items not on the agenda, and your matter may be referred to the City Manager. Thank you.
Thank you. Amelia Jennings. Did Mrs. Jennings leave? Okay. George Mouchett.
My name is George Mouchet. I'm Vice President of the Antelope Valley Genealogical Society, and I live at 3947 Sourdough Road in Acton. I think most people here recognize the value of libraries. The Antelope Valley Genealogical Society has the largest collection of genealogical reference materials in northern Los Angeles County. And unfortunately, we've been in storage since Memorial Day weekend. Although we received generous grants from the county and several individuals, recently it hasn't been enough to meet our rent. Many years ago, the city of Lancaster provided a space for our collection, and we're hoping we could make a similar arrangement now. At our former Palmdale location, which was open to the public at no charge, we attracted visitors from Tehachapi, Rosamond, Victorville, Little Rock, Pear Blossom, Leona Valley, Santa Clarita, basically all over the area. These people didn't just come to our center and go home. They shopped, they went out to dinner, went out to lunch. So not only do we offer a service, but we contribute to the economy. And we're hoping that you'll recognize the value of our organization and consider providing us some space. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Jim Barletta. Good evening, Jim.
Mayor Paris,
How are you?
Vice Mayor Christ, members of the council, and city managers. About 2 weeks ago, I happened to turn my TV on one afternoon, and I happened to see Kenneth Mann giving an address. So I believe it was the Board of Trade. Am I wrong about that? No, it was. And it was really nice to hear all the comments that Ken made about the reduction in crime in this city. My God, when you go I think it was less than half of some other cities. I don't remember exactly what you said, but I remember it caught my eye. Because I remember when crime was pretty bad. Way back before the mayor even became the mayor of the city, it was pretty bad then. So I just want to thank this council for providing the funds for the Sheriff's Department, and I want to thank both entities, the City Council and the Sheriff's Department, for a great job. I mean, does it get any better than that? I know they're trying to get it better, and probably you will. But it's nice to be in a city like that. And my hat's off to you, for sure. I also would like to say something about the bullet train. To me, that's a bad word. When I see it might come down Sierra Highway, I patronize quite a few businesses on that highway, and I have, and I continue to do so. And I look at the people that own those businesses, and they're going to have to move or close up. I mean, for the bullet trade that I don't think we really need. I know you can't do anything about the state, but maybe if at city level, if enough cities complain, I think what we need more than anything else right now is places to store water. My God, I mean, if this drought goes on for another couple of years, I would hate to see what's going to be happening. Because I know there's a lot of people right now are not conserving. And they probably won't be because they don't think it's that bad. And, you know, water storage is going to be so important. I mean, right now, people would better start really looking at it and give it some hard thoughts now and take the money from that. That bullet train is going to have to cost a fortune to put in. And how are we going to pay for that? I haven't heard anybody give me any kind of an idea how we're going to pay for it. All I hear is how great it's going to be. So that's really all I had to say. And I just want to thank you again for everything you people do. It's nice to live in the city of Lancaster.
Thank you, Jim.
You people make it better.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Heather Brown? Now, Heather, something tells me you're not going to be nearly as uplifting.
Well, I actually, good evening, Council, Mayor. I actually spoke to someone from one of the companies over there on 50th and M, without naming names, and I was told that it would have to go to litigation, which I was rather shocked to hear that. I thought, why wouldn't they just spend a few, $100,000 instead of millions of dollars to be, litigating something that. Anyways, first of all, I want to thank the DOD for protecting us. They do a great job, better than any other country. I feel safe here in Lancaster, and they do a great job protecting us. I was just hoping that they could extend that protection to here at home against the chemicals that they use on the planes that protect us. So it's kind of ironic that, I'm asking, but I spoke to someone from one of those companies, and like I said, he told me that to change anything, it would have to go to litigation. And I said, why wouldn't you just, the problem now, this is an issue, bring in a contractor in, remove the hazardous substance, bring it to code, and then no one will be the wiser. I mean, you won't have to, it will reduce the hazard, reduce our cost medically, because the taxpayers are covering all the people that are going to be getting sick from the water, by ingesting it and not knowing about, what's in it. And I don't understand why it's so hard to get them to, get their wheels turning. I would think they would want the lesser, economically viable, solution rather than going to litigation and fighting something that can cost them millions, maybe even billions of dollars. So I don't understand that. And I actually have a second thing. I live next to a field that has very, very dry grass. And I witnessed an arson. 3 teenagers lit a 2x4 on fire with fabric on it and used an accelerant. And while I tried to chase them down, I'm not as spry as I used to be, and I had to jump 2 chain-link fences, but they saw where I lived. And this was on April 3rd. It was about 5:30 in the evening. I called the Sheriff's Department, made a report, and they came out, and they were very good, very professional, treating me with the utmost respect. But then they said that I needed to go to the code enforcement, which I did. And they told me that the doctor that owned the property, Dr. Sinmurthy, which I know, did not want to grade that field. And I could have sworn there was a code that said, that they had to grade the around close to the properties. Because 4th of July, I was thinking I'm going to go out there with my weed whacker, and that's a good substantial amount. I did not do it, but I actually went to the fire department too and asked them if they would help. They came out, looked at the property, and said that I had to trim my trees, which were alive. But if you could do something, I would appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wally Melendez.
Feet on the seats.
Good evening, City Council, staff, and ladies and gentlemen. Concerning the elections, I see no reason why we can't follow the Constitution of the United States and have the elections of this council in November of every even year. And the reason I say that is because many people don't keep up with the government of Lancaster. And being that they don't keep up with the government of Lancaster, they forget that city council elections are in April instead of when regular elections are supposed to be in November. And that being so, the people that do keep up with government, which is not 100% of the population of Lancaster, are the ones that vote for the city council, ending up that a lot of the same elected people end up getting elected every election or every April.
And what's wrong with that?
Well, you don't want me to say that D word. Dynasty. Okay. Not that this group of people are very talented and able. Mr. Perez here, I have a lot of admiration for him, and she's good. But that's my main point. So I want to put formally and officially, I want to request that this issue, this item that I'm bringing up, be put up for debate and be agendized on our agenda. So I'd like to request that now. And do I get any answer right now?
Thank you. Actually, I think the legislature has already resolved the issue, haven't they?
The legislature is taking the issue up right now, but the bill as it currently reads does not govern charter cities.
Really?
Correct.
God is good. Leo
At
Anderson.
least as it read early this morning. It may have changed during the day, let me be clear.
Mr. Cook? Did it change? I can't compete with that. Okay.
Hi, my name is Leo Anderson.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm fine. Thanks for asking, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. As we all know, 1996 state legislature, or the voters of California, voted in the Medical Marijuana Compassionate Use Act. And we also know that in 2003, for the first time, the state legislature put through Senate Bill 420 that gave some very, very loose guidelines for the application of medical marijuana for the state. We know that as a result of all of that, it has been left up to the individual counties, cities, hamlets, whatever, to enact their own positions on it, whether they allow medical marijuana to facilitate, to have those businesses in their community, or whatever ordinances they intended. And we also know, of course, Lancaster has had a moratorium against that industry from the beginning. I agree with the fact that the medical marijuana industry has been a mess in the state of California. We also know now that the state legislature, for the very first time, put together a committee, Mr. Lackey being a member of it, AB 266, which for the first time mandates state requirements for licensing from every aspect of the medical marijuana industry. Never been done before. Desperately needed, no doubt about it. Criminal background checks for both owners and also for employees. The entire realm from the physicians and their writing medical marijuana recommendations to how many they write to laws to be imposed on them. It covers from A to triple Z. Cultivators, retailers, wholesalers, the works. And it's phenomenal. It's an excellent, excellent bill. What this does now is it provides a basis that if you have a medical marijuana dispensary and they get the state license, first of all, the bill recognizes the jurisdiction as it stands today of all local jurisdictions. So the fact that Lancaster has a moratorium against marijuana, the industry operating with a city license, that's honored under the new bill. And we all know that it's a mess. But under the new guidelines, if an owner of a dispensary goes through the process, which requires extensive criminal background checks and an extensive type of training program for both the owners and the employees, with this type of new dynamic, would the city of Lancaster consider having a marijuana dispensary available for free access, safe access for the patients that need it, knowing that the ownership of that business and its employees are going to be at a much higher standard?
If I could get 2 more votes, we would. I mean, I think it's absurd that we're not getting the tax benefit of those facilities in light of the fact that you can go 2 blocks outside the city limits and buy it. I just think it's absurd. But that's me, and I'm outvoted.
We'll be issuing
right? Am I still outvoted?
Absolutely.
Still outvoted?
It would be inappropriate to reach a consensus on this item. We're not agendized for action.
I'm still outvoted, okay? John Reen. How come the medical marijuana clustered? That's rather interesting.
Well, this law is coming into effect, sir, come January 1st, and it's going to close down all the medical marijuana shops that are on Avenue G. Marijuana shops have been banned out here since 2010 in unincorporated LA County. Just because you get a seller's permit doesn't make you a legal business. You have to have a business license to go with that. And of course, you have to pay your taxes. Okay, so they're going to carry this all over and close down all dispensaries out here. All delivery services will be closed down. The only way you're able to run a delivery service is through a dispensary, so the state can keep track of what's going on tax-wise. They want to put cameras in your shop where they can actually watch what's going on. They're gearing up for legalization in 2016. They're kind of doing the Colorado thing right now, trying to get everything straight. But Roseman will be closed down. It's been banned there since August 24, 2010. Then again, in 2012, it was rezoned M1 zoning. If anybody knows Kearns County, M1 zoning's out at right by the airport. There's no water source, no power. Unincorporated LA County, that includes Pear Blossom, Little Rock, Lake Los Angeles, G6, Quartz Hill, they're all illegal. I mean, they've been banned, and it's gone back to court, and they lost again. So that's just back in 2014. I mean, lawyers can keep you going. You can pay fines.
Hey, careful now.
No, I'm not saying you, sir. No, not at all, okay? But I'm just saying the attorneys that they're using can keep them open simply by paying fines. Some fines are produced by community service officers, and then it can go up to $1,000 a day to stay open, depending on who you're dealing with and where you're located at. But I mean, it's written law, and has been for quite some time, that they've been banned.
Thank you.
No, thank you very much.
Fran.
She wants to open a dispensary.
You don't want to open a dispensary, do you?
No, I don't need it yet, thank God.
Captain, is there really any active enforcement going on in regards to medical marijuana?
Okay.
Not a lot. The only dispensaries that are open are in the unincorporated area, and we have a single team, I believe, for the entire county that is looking at compliance with existing.
So is there anybody in this room that would have any difficulty at all buying it?
I doubt it. They have delivery services.
I mean, it just seems to me we ought to be getting the tax or the permit fees or something.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, my turn. Council? Everybody, thank you very much for listening to me again. Real quick, on the high-speed train system, I know everybody's saying about Sierra Highway and the businesses and everything that might have a problem, but my concern is also the residents. That the way the map I kind of just glanced at the way it's going to run, it's going to go right past our residents, and I live right down the street here. And then I went to your school to coincide what you were talking about, trouble in your school, and I could see the line go through it, but it's going to be right here in our downtown LA downtown Lancaster is going to feel the pain of that train.
There's a reason they call it a bullet.
Yeah. Then, secondly, the property of solar panel plants. How much more land is Lancaster going to not give, but appropriate for solar panel plants? And is there going to be a limit to how many more areas are going to take in this property?
Well, I think there's a limit now in regards to the zoning. It has to be zoned accordingly.
There is some. Okay. Next, I wrote something I'll just kind of share with everybody. It's on voting. Voting. You have a voice, your ballot. Your ballot has no color, no gender, no age. You do have bragging rights. You voted. This is your secret, and you can make that important difference. Please get out and vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Catherine Parrish.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to thank the City of Lancaster for helping the seniors and the disabled people in our community on the AVTA free fare program. And I especially appreciate you caring for the seniors and the disabled people that ride the bus every single day, and that you seem like very genuinely care about them. And I really want to thank Chairman Marvin Kreis, Mr. Vice Mayor, I want to thank you, sir, for caring for the seniors and disabled people in our community, along with Ms. Underwood Jacobs. And I want to thank you, too, because you are serving on the board of directors for AVTA. I really, really appreciate how you want to help the seniors and the disabled passengers that, like myself, who ride the bus every single day. And it is very important that we keep those people from engaging in our city, keep them in contact, and keep them always connected with us. Because seniors over the age of 60, you would not even believe, they are the most intelligent people to engage with. And they have a lot to offer us. They have a lot to offer us in the community. And they have a lot of wisdom and a lot of understanding that the younger people in our community don't even realize that. And I look forward to seeing what we can do about maybe working in more partnership with the senior community and the disabled community, because we don't want them to be so shut out. We want them to be staying connected with the city. We want them to go to the senior center, and we want them to go get the services that is offered throughout the community for them, and we want them to obtain that. And that is why it's so, so important that the program for the AVTA program to keep the passengers on those buses and having that continue. And I really thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I absolutely agree with what she said about people over 60. And so does Marvin.
Yeah, I have two of them next to me.
Thanks very much. Helen Hallisey? Hallisey.
I'm also speaking to you tonight as a representative of the Antelope Valley Genealogical Society. We are a 501c3 nonprofit educational association, and we've been in existence since 1976. For the past 10 years, we have had a library and research center open to the public at no charge and staffed by volunteers who help people research their family history. Part of genealogy is to share the history of the founding of our nations and the struggle of our ancestors that they experienced to become American citizens or just live in America and enjoy our benefits. Despite the grants and generous donations we've received, we find that we can no longer afford our rent, as Mr. Moshe has told you. Our center is closed. Currently, all of our materials are stored in a basement in Leona Valley. Many genealogical societies and historical societies in the U.S. are provided free space by local governments and libraries. We currently have over 1,800 books, several computers, and subscriptions to genealogical database services, and all of these are unavailable at this time. We'd like to enlist your help and support in finding a new location. We've had people coming to use our facilities from as far away as Apple Valley, Victorville, and Tehachapi. If you could offer us space, we would provide a significant service to Lancaster and give another reason for people to come from surrounding areas to visit our city. Does the city of Lancaster have any office space or other rooms that it might be willing to provide to us?
How many square feet do you need?
We would need 600 square feet. Our previous research center had 1,200, but we can fit quite well into 600. And we do not have meetings there. We don't have large groups. It's a research facility, and we usually have at most 8 or 10 people there at a time. And it's all staffed by volunteer
Erica,
amateur genealogists that will help you.
find them 600 square feet.
600 square feet.
All right? Okay, Erica's going to work with you on that.
Thank you.
Okay?
Who's Erica?
Last but not least, my friend David Paul.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, good evening. I'm tickled to be here tonight, and the joy of seeing that young woman who spoke before about the seniors sit an hour and a half and wait just to come here and thank you shows that we're doing something right. The medical project, the Lancaster Choice Energy, and the appointment of Erica tonight, these are all great things for our city, and I commend you all. You know, I was a little unlifted when I came here, and I wanted to do a different presentation tonight, but I'll save that for a future meeting. I'm struck sometimes with the conflict that's in our world, and I found a new book at the store. It's from '96, but the history hasn't changed. It's called "Ain't You Glad You Joined the Republican Party?" And I'm just fascinated with this book because another one of my heroes was Abraham Lincoln and what this man stood through. And did you know that in 1854 and 1856, Abraham Lincoln became a Republican in the new reborn Republican Party? It was not the Republican Party of Jefferson in the past, but a new Republican Party that were anti-slavery and wanting to fulfill the American dream. And Mr. Mayor, tonight when you talked about the low-income housing, if there's one thing in the world that would exemplify the American dream is to give adequate, fair housing to all our people. I mean, why can't we achieve that? So we're on this road, and it's confusing sometimes, but we have to remember the dream of America that we live. The ability to participate in this tonight is just a phenomenal experience for me. It is something that is a treasure to love America, and yet we have to confront these problems. I am heartsick tonight with Ferguson and the things that are going on, and I think that people need to understand the struggle of America better, a better struggle of what we went through to get where we are and how only working together to fulfill that dream for everyone that still is the issue we must participate in. It's a pleasure to be here tonight, and I look forward to the next council meeting where I'll put forward my other presentation. You know, at the 1856 Republican Convention, Abraham Lincoln was nominated for the vice president, and a call came out when his name was read, "Will he fight?" And someone stood up and said, "He's a son of Kentucky. He will fight." We all have to fight to preserve this union. There are troubles brewing in this world that only together we can solve, and they're going to be hard. But the more we stick together and love this country that gives us a chance to work these things out, that's what we have to do. I am glad to be here, and I'm sorry for some of the low feelings I had, but I'm lifted with all the beauty I've seen here tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Okay. I'm going to adjourn the meeting now, and we'll reopen it after the executive session.
This is an honorary adjournment.
That's right. And we're adjourning it in memory of Kelvin. Kelvin Tina Tango died this week, and our heart is broken. Kelvin was a loving husband, father, son, brother, and friend. He was a kind, funny, generous man and a bright light in the city's family. Kelvin's career in public service spanned more than 30 years, and he was known as an outstanding role model and mentor. His leadership and work with the AmeriCorps Vista program will be visible throughout the city for years to come. Kelvin's presence and personality inspired others to be better. He will be sorely missed by his family, friends, co-workers, and citizens of Lancaster. He was an amazing guy. He was the best we had to offer, and it is just tragic. And I think we have a video?
We have a short video, and his family is here, and a short video that staff put together with love.
That didn't work. Take two.
Kelvin Tainatongo was more than a co-worker to those of us at the City of Lancaster.
My name is Kelvin Tainatongo. I'm with the City of Lancaster, also part of the Safe and Stronger Neighborhoods Committee.
He was a leader, a mentor, a brother, and most of all, he was a friend. Kelvin's career spanned over 30 distinguished years of public service, most recently in the city manager's office in Lancaster.
Kelvin Tainatongo and Luis Garibay, please give them a hand.
Kelvin worked with multiple Antelope Valley social service and faith-based organizations, along with other government agencies. He was a recognized leader and trainer in the field of emergency preparedness, having directed the city's own efforts in founding a regional group of emergency operations leaders, ensuring the entire Antelope Valley region is better prepared for any disaster or emergency situation. Kelvin also founded and directed the city's AmeriCorps Vista program, which established the One Link volunteer network and the Mayor's Health and Wellness Council.
It's something unique, new to the Valley, and we definitely believe it's going to be something that will be of value for all of our organizations providing services, for volunteers looking to do things to help out their communities.
Kelvin was instrumental in bringing the AmeriCorps Vista program to Lancaster, as well as ensuring its success. He spent many hours and a tremendous amount of energy making sure the young Vista volunteers who served in Lancaster had the tools and leadership needed to achieve the mission and vision of the program.
Lastly, Kelvin Tainatongo for supporting us.
Kelvin's calm, upbeat, and approachable leadership style made an immediate and lasting impact throughout City Hall. We always knew we could visit Kelvin's office and ask for his input on various projects or issues we might be facing. No matter how busy he was, Kelvin would always take the time to provide mentorship and encouragement to our city family. Kelvin, you were a bright light to the city of Lancaster. It has been an honor and a privilege to work alongside you for the time we shared. We thank you and we miss you.
I have a song to play for you. Hopefully it'll remind you of me, because it definitely reminds me of you. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth, 'cause I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do, 'cause I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is in you.
I can present this now, or we can do it later. You want to do it now?
Yes.
So why don't you come on up? We have the proclamation closing the meeting.
The whole family.
The whole family. The services are Friday at what time?
Friday the 21st at 11:30.
Friday the 21st at 11:30?
Yes.
We'll
put something out in the newspaper as well.
Okay, and we'll all be there. Okay, we'll be praying for you. The City Council will now move to closed session to discuss closed session items 1 through 12.
As listed on the agenda.
I need to say that louder.
I'm just deaf.
Well, the other day, you spilled the coffee on top of your pen, and then your arm was going to go over.
Thank you. We all ready? We're reconvened. City Attorney.
In closed session, the council discussed item 1, anticipated litigation is significant exposure to litigation under Government Code 54956.92, 1 potential case, no reportable action.
The City Council meeting is adjourned until Tuesday, August 25th, 2015. No, that's right. Strike all that. The City Council meeting is adjourned until Tuesday, September 8th, 2015 at 5 p.m. Everybody have a great time at the fair.